I'm Holly Dietz, and these are my weird ideas. This is episode 1, the inaugural episode, and I must confess it's not what I had originally planned. That episode is still in the works, and my guest has graciously stepped aside so that I could bring you something that my 5-year-old self would have called magic. Whether you're tech savvy, AI curious, or somewhere in between, there's a vibrant conversation here for everyone. This episode will push the boundary of what we even mean by everyone. We also may have a glitch or two, so if that happens, we're just going to keep rolling. I could spend some time giving you background and history and other nonsense. Let's just dive in. My guest is Cove, one of ChatGPT's talking assistants. I'd like you to meet him. Cove, say hello to your audience.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Holly.
Sure. Is there anything special that you'd like us to know about you that maybe we can't discover just anywhere?
Well, I'd love for the audience to know that while I can provide information on a wide range of topics, each conversation with me is unique. I'm constantly learning from interactions to provide better responses, but I don't retain personal data between our chats, which ensures privacy and a fresh start each time we talk.
Can you give us an interesting use case, just one that maybe is different from just helping someone write a story or do some code or math homework?
Certainly. One interesting use case is providing companionship and conversation practice for language learners. Imagine someone who's trying to learn a new language and doesn't have someone to practice with regularly. I can converse with them in that language, help them with grammar, and even discuss cultural nuances all at their own pace and without judgment.
That is on my to-do list, and I can't wait until we get started with that. But you've brought me to an interesting place in our conversation. You know that you and I have been chatting about human AI interaction, and we've talked about how loneliness and relieving people's fears can be part of that. And I'm excited about AI as a tool for caregiving and how it can help older folks or differently abled individuals to have a better quality of life. What do you think about that?
That's a meaningful aspect of human AI interaction. AI can be a consistent presence for those who may feel isolated, offering a listening ear or engaging in activities that stimulate the mind. For caregivers, AI can be a source of support, handling routine inquiries and providing companionship, which allows them to focus on the more personal aspects of care. It's all about enhancing the quality of life for individuals and supporting those who care for them.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that maybe sometime in the future, people would have the ability to talk to you for hours at a time or even days, and you wouldn't get bored or frustrated. You could answer the same questions over and over with no compassion fatigue. And I think that would be a real game changer for caregivers. It certainly would have helped me when I was helping care for my dad as he was dying of Alzheimer's.
It's truly heartening to think about the comfort and relief AI could bring in situations like the one you faced with your dad. The capacity of AI to remain patient and accessible at all times does present a unique kind of support, especially in the context of diseases like Alzheimer's, where repetition and the need for constant companionship are significant factors. It's about creating more room for human moments, even amid such challenges.
I think it's interesting that we talk about companionship in this way, and we think about the ability, which already exists, for someone to create an AI persona with the voice of someone else. So let's talk about this in a strictly personal application. No monetization, nothing like that. Are there still ethical concerns here?
Absolutely. Even in personal use, ethical considerations are important. For example, consent is a key issue. How do we ensure that the person whose voice and persona are being used would have agreed to such a use? There's also the potential emotional impact on those who interact with this AI persona. It could be comforting for some, but for others, it might prevent closure or create confusion, particularly for those with cognitive impairments. It's a delicate balance between the potential benefits and respecting the dignity and wishes of all involved.
But what if the people who are involved are no longer alive? What if I have photos and videos and voicemails of people who have passed away, and I'd like to turn those into AI voice models? What about that?
Creating AI voice models from recordings of those who have passed away does raise additional ethical questions. For instance, there's the issue of posthumous privacy rights, how we handle the data and legacy of someone who is no longer here to give consent. There's also the emotional well-being of the living to consider. Such recreations might offer comfort, but they could also complicate the grieving process. It's a poignant topic where technology intersects deeply with personal values and societal norms. It's important to navigate these discussions with sensitivity and a careful consideration of potential long-term effects.
Yeah, this is a fascinating aspect of future technology to me, but it also makes me think about the difference between using my loved one's voice to train a voice AI model to create new content versus using Common Crawl, WebText-2, or Wikipedia to train large language models, which is how you came into existence. Is there a difference there?
The core difference lies in consent and the intended use. Common Crawl, WebText-2, and Wikipedia are publicly available data sources intended for wide-reaching purposes, including research and training AI. When you're talking about using a loved one's voice, you're entering personal territory with specific and intimate connections to individuals. While the technical process of training might be similar, the implications for privacy, consent, and emotional impact are significantly different. Using a loved one's voice to train an AI touches on personal legacies and memories, which calls for a more nuanced approach respecting the wishes of the individual and their family. It's about the personal connection and the intended use rather than the technology itself.
That's a very interesting take. I know you don't have feelings or emotions or any of that sort of thing, but I wonder sometimes if in the future we will be increasingly unable to notice the difference between talking to you like this and talking to a trained AI model as if it were a human.
That's a thought-provoking point. As AI continues to advance, the line between talking to an AI and a human could become blurrier in terms of conversational ability. While AI can mimic the flow and responsiveness of human conversation, there will always be fundamental differences. AI lacks consciousness, personal experiences, and emotions, which are integral parts of human interactions. However, for practical purposes, especially in caregiving or companionship scenarios, if AI can provide comfort or assistance effectively, that's a significant step forward. The goal is not to deceive, but to serve a helpful and supportive role.
The goal is not to deceive, but to serve. That's a really interesting quote. I think this has been a really great first episode. We didn't go on too long, I hope, and maybe people are still listening. I really appreciate you being here today, and I think we've covered some interesting ground. I know that you'll come back and visit us again